identity that I've always grew up knowing them as the black and blue, run the football, stop the run type of team. They're more like the Atlanta Falcons these days. I think Heinz Field has a dome over top of it the way they play.
Sure, and we're going to get to that. We're going to get to Pittsburgh here in a second, but I think it's important to note that Jerry Jones is dead and nobody's told him yet. He looks like shit.
All those facelifts, they get to you eventually. Eventually, those screws can't hold up.
I saw him in an interview the other day, and I just shook my head like, Jerry, you poor guy. You look like absolute shit. All that money, and your face looks like that. Terrible. But moving
over
on.
plastic surgery. Ask Michael Jackson. Still late, Michael Jackson. That's not fair.
Yeah, moving on. I think we can agree that in all likelihood you'll see Zeke at the end of the year as a league MVP, unless something crazy happens. But is Dallas the biggest surprise in the NFL? I'm surprised at the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't think that they were going to be this dominant. But we've talked enough about Dallas. Who else is a surprise on a positive note this season?
On a positive note, good question.
The Raiders, I don't want to call a surprise because everybody talked them up in the preseason. They were really a media darling coming into this season anyway.
Could it be Derek Carr, though? Well, I mean, I know they were a media darling, and everyone said, watch out for the Raiders this year. This could be your sleeper, your dark horse this year, which it looks like they very well could be. But did anybody see Derek Carr going out there and playing like this?
Yes.
I mean, like this, like 500 yards in a game. I mean, you did. I mean, you follow the Raiders, but I'm talking your casual observer of the NFL. I don't think anyone saw it.
I know that the majority of fans, the majority of the Raider Nation, truly believed in Derek Carr. I can tell you, though, going back 2 years into his rookie season with Dennis Allen, where some of these people were just like, he's a croon. They were 0-9 going into that Thursday night game against the Chiefs, and people were like, Reggie McKenzie's awful. Dennis Allen's awful. Dennis Allen's not a good head coach. But these guys were thinking that Carr was a mistake. They were, crying to just go ahead and, put Matt Flynn in.
Oh, yeah.
Just fans are fucking stupid, pardon me. But in a lot of cases. How do you
feel for the Detroit Lions, what Matt Flynn has became after he threw 6 touchdown passes against you?
Yeah, well, that was an 0-16 Detroit Lion team.
I don't know if it was that year, but I mean, it was probably your run-of-the-mill typical Detroit Lions team, though.
Yeah, it couldn't have been good.
Other than this year, okay. Well, I'll talk about a surprise in a positive way. How about those Detroit Lions? Now that we're on that topic,
I think that's fair. I really do. I think that is a team at 5-4. They've got potential to win that division because Green Bay's falling apart. We're going to get to them in a minute too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, Detroit is a surprise. I mean, 5-4. It's not great, but they're 4-2 in the conference. They're not a bad team. I've said it before. I'll say it again. They play for Jim Caldwell.
9-7 could very well easily win that division.
It sure could. Chicago's 2-7. They're out. Green Bay at 4-5 and dropping 3 straight.
And Minnesota is just Minnesota. I mean, they were a fad. They were the Wildcat offense that didn't even last that long.
That's right. And let me tell you one thing about the Minnesota Vikings. They're 5-4. They started the season 5-0. That means they lost 4 straight. Good teams in the NFL rarely lose 4 straight.
No, there's too much disarray. There's a reason Norv Turner walked away from that team. There's something it's not working. And when you have disarray in the system like that, where your offensive coordinator walks away in the middle of the season, when you're very much in the thick of things, that speaks loud.
Yeah,
that's like a Kiss concert right there.
General disarray. Not a good scenario for the Minnesota Vikings. Another surprise team. I didn't see Atlanta being very good, and they are. They're a pretty good team. Defensively, they stink, and I think that'll be their Achilles heel as the season goes on. I don't see them being very good.
But to me, they're the same team. They're not surprising at all. We knew they could score points. We knew Julio Jones is I would say I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. I believe he is. But
all limb, that's a huge.
And they can't stop anybody. So to me, the Atlanta Falcons are no surprise at all. They are who I thought they were. Dennis Green, R.I.P.
Yeah, you're right. They really are. Because last year, they got off to a 5-0 start last year and fell apart too. They can score some points. I think they've scored the most points in the NFL, haven't they?
Well, I mean, that wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure, but that wouldn't surprise me.
I think they have.
Yeah, talk about a quarterback who's got a lot on his shoulders is Matty Ice, because you got to go into each game with the mentality of, I know my defense sucks, so I got to put up I got to go with the mindset that I have to score 40 points today to win.
Well, I'm going to give you two more teams that are a surprise. One I believe in a lot more than the other, and the team that I don't really believe in, but I'm a little bit impressed with what they've done here the last 4 weeks, and that's the Miami Dolphins. Sorry. This team starts off 1-4, can't get their bearings. They win 4 straight. A couple of them on the road, some long hikes. All of a sudden, that offense is starting to show a few things. They're establishing themselves on the ground with Jay Ajayi. That offensive line's pretty good. It's pretty good. They're making holes. This kid's taking advantage of it. Ryan Tannehill is still Ryan Tannehill. He's still not a franchise quarterback. And when I say that I'm surprised at this team, I'm not saying they're going to win the AFC East, because they're not. But they're a better team than I gave them credit for initially. They're a much better team. Keep an eye on the Miami Dolphins in the future. Adam Gase might be onto something here. But the team that I really, really like, they're a couple years away, and you know who this is going to be. I bet you know who I'm thinking.
You're going to Tennessee Titans.
You're damn right, man, and I love it. I absolutely love to see this Mike Mularkey-led team come out. They're 5-5. I called it last week that they were going to go beat Green Bay's ass. This is a good football team. They can run the ball with anybody. They can run the ball. They ran Green Bay over. Green Bay's run defense is really deceptive. It's not very good. Tennessee ran them over. Marcus Mariota is excellent.
Yeah, you got something. You definitely have. If you're Tennessee Titans, I will agree with you there. You definitely have something to build with, because the kid can definitely play. No doubt about it.
Can you imagine if Marcus Mariota had ended up with the Houston Texans, a team that's 6-3 and they suck.
With him going to the Houston Texans and having a DeAndre Hopkins to throw the ball to, let's keep in mind, Delaney Walker's a fine tight end. I'm not taking anything away from him,
but good. He's very good.
Yeah, if you had a kid like DeAndre Hopkins to throw the ball to, and you're Marcus Mariota, that's a big 1-2 punch right there. Huge.
He started to develop a rapport with Rashad Matthews, which is nice to see. Kendall Wright's another young receiver that's okay. But, Rashad Matthews has played really well. That Tennessee Titans team, again, this all points to one major, major factor in the NFL, and that's you can run the football. DeMarco Murray's an excellent running back. He's excellent. Chip Kelly wasted time and Jeffrey Lurie's money in Philadelphia. DeMarco Murray is excellent.
Well, I think Jeffrey Lurie's sitting back somewhere like, well, no shit. That's why he's in San Fran.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. He's not. I didn't figure anything out. That's for sure. But yeah, Tennessee's just really an impressive young team. This Tennessee Titans team reminds me of the Oakland Raider team last year. They don't play the same game. I don't mean it that way, but I mean that level of potential. They're really just a few players away from competing for a division. That division stinks. Don't laugh. I said it last year, and you did laugh at me, and I deserved it because I was a year too soon. But I said last year, don't laugh if this Tennessee Titans team could win that division. And you laughed in my face, and you, sir, were correct. I was way early on this, but now
this year it's becoming not so much a laughing matter because, the Tennessee Titans are much improved. Yes, I do give you that. Am I ready to call them good yet? No, not quite. They still got some ways to go, but they are very much improved. What saves them is, sure, they could win that division. That division's inept. It's an inept division.
It sucks. It does suck. And if we can, those are some teams that we're excited about and surprised about, and they have really a bright future. Who's the biggest flop?
Oh, man. This pains me. Got to go with the Green Bay Packers.
It does. Yeah, you do. You do.
You have to. You have no choice. I don't want to because I'm an Aaron Rodgers supporter, and as much as it pains me to say this, I don't want to put all the blame on him, but some of the blame is on him. I've watched him, and I've said, okay, all these weeks make excuses that his receivers don't get open. They can't run the ball. Their defense is terrible. All that's true. But I'm watching Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if it's just frustration or what it is, but he's missing throws that, I remember watching the Aaron Rodgers of 4 years ago would have made in his sleep, and he's missing them.
I think they got a lot of problems as a team.
I don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers got hit by that Space Jam goo. His talent got taken by a Monstar or something like that. There's something going on with him.
I don't know that there is. I don't. I think Aaron Rodgers is just fine. I do think that something is going on with him and McCarthy, and I think that the common denominator here is McCarthy is the play caller this year where he wasn't in years past. They don't run the football. They signed Christine Michael today. If you, I don't know if you saw, but the Seahawks waived Christine Michael yesterday. C.J. Prosey proved that he's their running back. Thomas Rawls is coming back. Christine Michael is a very average player, but the Green Bay brought. Say it again.
Boy named Christine.
That's it. Yeah, very average player. But they signed him today in Green Bay because they cannot run the football. Josh Sitton was an offensive lineman for Green Bay that they cut earlier in the season. I don't know if it was future money issues or if it was they had said, I'd read somewhere where they had suggested he was a potential cancer in the locker room. Whatever the case might have been, they have no offensive line. They don't block enough to run the ball. Aaron Rodgers is running for his life in the backfield. McCarthy calling plays, I think, is a problem. Their special teams suck. I watched last week in that Tennessee game, turnovers, your muffin punts, your muffin kicks, you're giving up 99-yard kickoff returns to start games. This is not a good way to get started. When you do this, you're playing from behind. Rodgers is playing on his heels all day long, running around. I've seen him more this season than I ever have in years past, throwing his arms up in the air after incomplete passes and looking at receivers like you're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be there. So somewhere the receivers aren't seeing the defense that he's seeing, and I don't know. Joe, I got to tell you, I think that the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement in the NFL, has affected the level of play that we're looking at this season. They don't practice enough. They don't practice properly. They don't hit. There's not enough contact, and I think it's affecting the play, and that really affects communication on the field.
It's something to think about because – and you got all these. The other thing, you got all these players holding out of their contracts, holding out all off season. They get back in. It's just you can't just get it on the fly.
Practice.
Football. If you played football as a young kid, as a young age, it's a game of where a team. That's one of the sports games where, in basketball, you kind of have that one good player. He can kind of take you a lot of places. Where football, you rely on a team core unit, where bonding, a locker room, and coming together is a big part of it. And when you have guys holding out, rookies coming on the team, there's just no I mean, there's a lot that can play out, and there's something to it.
Sure, there's constant transition.
Look at NFL teams that are consistently good. Like, hit it.
I know. It's just, you hate to go in that direction all the time.
I know you hate to do it, but look at it. Do you really ever see these issues going on? If they even have a sense of feel that somebody will be an issue, they're gone. They don't play around like that. They're gone. They don't. Green Bay's
I don't think Green Bay's problems are that department. I think their problems are a lack of talent. I think a lot of this has to fall on Mike McCarthy. It does. And McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, with these scowls that they're giving each other, the lack of communication, they need to they need to Febreze that shit up. It's got to get fresh in there. They got to start over. They're 4-5. They're not out of anything yet. They got their asses handed to them 47-25 last week. They started 6-0 in 2015.
At that point, I know you're high on your Tennessee Titans, but when you lose. When you're the Green Bay Packers and you get beat 47-25, you give up 47 points to the Tennessee Titans,
right?
On the road or not, you might want to start thinking about maybe it ain't this year you'll be worried about. Maybe it is your future. See where you can go.
It should be, because I tell you what, you give up 47 points. It was 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. They give up 35 first half points. Let me tell you what that translates to. That's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. He can't tackle people. To me, that's completely.
No, it's not. It's not all his fault. And maybe I am contradicting myself the more I think about it in that respect, because here I am sticking up for Tony Romo, where he was having the same issues when he was, when the Cowboys were going through all this. Now they have a good unit, and maybe this is just happening to Aaron Rodgers now, where he's asked to do too much and he's overwhelmed. That could also be. But I have noticed he has missed throws, and there's no running from this. He has missed throws that I just remember. 2-3 years ago, Aaron Rodgers, it's effortless to make some of these throws, and he's missing them this year. Maybe it is frustration, and that can get to you.
And I think frustration affects your mojo. You start pressing. It's just like in baseball when you fall into that slump. You go out, you bang a fat chick. Hopefully things get better, and if they don't, it's the slump buster doesn't work, you begin to press. Every plate appearance, you start swinging at the first pitch, no matter where it is. You're popping up, you're forcing things. And for Rogers, this is the problem he's having. I